This could be huge. Manning is the fight.
It's the night of overtimes. We are certainly not running out of time here at the Oceanic Nationals. We've got plenty of time for more Siege. 8-6, 8-6, 8-6. That's been the 3 matches that we had tonight. One more to go, Guz. Why not make it another one?
I just hope it's not Oregon, and I will leave it at that.
Fair enough. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally all I had to say about that. I mean, look, Bliss Elevate was a fun game. Bliss, you know, got some points out of that one, and Elevate secured themselves equal first. They didn't fall to the underdog as much as some of the other teams did earlier tonight.
Now, before we move forward, there's a very special sponsor shout out that I do want to give. It's to Livin, which is obviously such an amazing organization, a strong message. You can see it on Guz's shirt there. And, you know, Ubisoft Australia is so proud to once again be partnering with Livin for Oceanic Nationals, as they did with us last year as well. They're, of course, a mental health organization dedicated to breaking the stigma around mental health. It ain't weak to speak, Guz. You know, and that's what it's all about. You can support Livin by following them on social media, wearing their merch, just like Guz is. And Oceanic viewers can also take advantage of a pretty good offer. OCN 15 promo code. Use that at the checkout for 15% off, and you can get a nice shirt like the one that Guz is wearing. I know Manic was wearing one last night as well, which looked pretty poppin'. I got one that I'm going to chuck on for our next broadcast. Simply type !Livin in Twitch chat to visit their online store.
Yeah, get around it, support the league, support Living. Honestly, their shirts are actually like really good. Like,
they're actually
awesome
pretty
quality. I mean, when you're standing in like a hot environment like this, good shirt like this is always nice. So can't complain. And of course, the message is really positive as well. So yeah, make sure to type !Livin in the chat and use the code.
I won't spell it out. I think everyone can know how to spell Livin.
I mean, it's behind you, so.
Manic, yesterday I was watching the stream and it's like, it's Livin, just in case people aren't sure. Look, good on him. I've seen Guz's guns. He's actually huge. Do not miss this one, Xenox. Or don't mess with what?
Don't mess with me. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Wrong way. I always do it the wrong way.
Let's just sort of move on tonight, though. Of course, we've got one more matchup to come. It is going to be Wildcard versus LFO. But Guz, for maybe some fans who haven't watched yesterday, or haven't been keeping up, this is not the same Wildcard from last year.
Well, 4 of the players are the same. There's only one that's been traded out, Diesel for Silix, as I'm sure we'll look at the rosters in a sec, but they have changed completely. I honestly found it a little bit hard to watch them last night. I don't know what it is, but they are just not playing at their best by any stretch. There is a very, very real chance that they do not win tonight. It's a little bit scary, to be completely honest. Wildcard they're falling apart. And I would love to see them bounce back. I mean, I'm not trying to write them off here, but things have definitely been very rough in their camp.
It's a little saddening as well. I mean, without sounding like a homer or anything like that, it's when you see a top team and how good Wildcard at their peak were, you know, challenging, like, to be quite frank, what would have been challenging the best teams in APAC, drop off to where they're at now, even though it's only one player that's been lost. It's staggering. It's saddening. It's almost unbelievable that it's happened. You know, you look at the players still in the lineup: Geo, Immerin, Vinny's, like Pat. I mean, and Silix is not a bad player either, right? So you're just sort of wondering what is going on with these guys that maybe we don't actually know. Maybe something outside of the Diesel situation. So look, all I can say is I hope we see Wildcard of old tonight. That would not be good news for LFO, but I've just got to say, I think Wildcard, they've got enough there. There's still enough tools in the shed that they can get back to at least close to their best and still be a top 4 team in the region. We'll look at their opponents for tonight, though. LFO, they let me down last night. I voted them against Team Bliss. I really thought that they would be able to win that one, but unfortunately, Guz, they were unable. And, well, we've got 2 teams that are looking for the first win of the season.
That's what I was going to say. I was just about to put that out there, but you're 100% right. Both of these teams are looking for their first dub, and LFO honestly have a really good opportunity against Wildcard. If you had looked at this fixture 3 or 4 weeks ago, you probably wouldn't have said that, but now the gates have been opened, and I'm sure LFO, after seeing Wildcard lose last night and in APAC South, know that they are a great opportunity here to try and get their first points on the board.
Yeah, this is a really weird one to sort of try and predict, right? I think there was a rather even split in the caster predictions at the start of the night. It might have been like a 3-4 split. Actually, don't even know how many people are on the panel of the so-called experts, but you know, it was the only matchup, guys, that was actually split. Everyone else on the panel for the first 3 matches all voted the same, and that's quite indicative of more so where Wildcard are at rather than LFO. This is not like, oh, LFO has suddenly become this monster team. It's the opposite. It's Wildcard have come down to LFO's level.
Yeah, I think you've put it perfectly. If I had the opportunity to change my prediction heading into tonight, I'm not sure if the other boys did. Maybe they've paid someone off on the side to get their prediction changed, because I would have to back LFO here. I don't think LFO are going to smash Wildcard, but they're a very good chance to win. And if LFO play their best, I mean, yeah, potentially. I think the one thing that I know I discussed with you, and I've discussed with Devon stuff, I believe, is this match, I believe, is going to be dictated by the first 3 or 4 rounds. If Wildcard actually come out of the gates decently strong and get rounds on the board, that's fine. They'll probably win the map. If LFO come out strong and win the first couple of rounds, I can't help but feel that Wildcard's mental is just going to go completely down the drain, and the map's just going to be lost from that.
Let's go have a look at the maps and see where we are going to be heading for the final map of the day. I can tell you it's not Oregon, as that got banned out pretty early on by LFO. We're heading to Cafe, which is, of course, still a staple of the region. I mean, really, what feels like the big 3 maps of this region, guys. Clubhouse, Cafe, Oregon are the only 3 maps out of the first week of Oceanic Nationals that have actually been played. 3 maps, can you believe it? It could have been 2 had we got Clubhouse tonight, but Consulate actually almost got down towards the end. Wildcard choosing to ban that one out. I'm literally not expecting to see Consulate at all this season.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because Wildcard, I would have said previously, were literally the best team on Consulate.
Yeah.
The only time you would ever see them play Consulate would be in a best of 3 when it slipped through. So the fact that LFO actually let that stand is pretty crazy. I don't know, maybe LFO have been prepping Consulate. I don't know why you would, because that map surely isn't going to be around for much longer. But yeah, interesting that Wildcard decided not to play there, and it looks like Cafe will be the playground for the final match tonight.
Final match of the night, indeed it is. We head to the old ever lovable Cafe. Wildcard looking to find their first win of the season. So is LFO though, along with still looking to find an organization. It's a tough one to tip, guys, I'll tell you that much. All I know is I would be expecting overtime.
Ooh. I don't know how long my legs will hold up for. They're already getting a little bit sore, but we'll push through. We do have some recent form to talk about for Wildcard. In fact, they played this map in APAC South just the other day, Thursday last week, against Q Confirm. And yeah, it didn't really go the way they would have liked. It was a 2-7 loss, and Q Confirm dominated that match. So maybe LFO have reviewed that match, seen a couple of things they like, and they'll try and exploit that here, keeping in mind that Wildcard actually did have the option to head us to Consulate. So maybe they're looking at this as an opportunity to try and improve what was a little bit of a disastrous last outing.
Thatcher's still banned. Mirror still the most banned defender as well. Valkyrie not that far off either. Actually going to be the first time we see Ace banned out for Oceanic Nationals this season. But
Yeah,
other than that, nothing too crazy though.
Yeah, Ace is obviously a powerful hard breed, so not too unexpected. Outside of that, the other bands are pretty typical. Valkyrie is very powerful on this map. A lot of those black eye cameras can be thrown off fairway outside, gather intel, and obviously hidden in and around the map as well. And that does mean that the teams won't really need to be running IQ, which frees up that flex for another position.
LFO on the defense, bar cocktail, first sight. What to expect from Wildcard? I kind of have this weird, like, spider sense, right? That Wildcard are going to just be like Wildcard of old in this matchup. Like, they're just going to find that form that they've been missing over the last week or so and just come back from the brink of death. Whether it be someone like Geo just popping off, or even Vinny. Silex himself could probably find a kill or two here or there, but I don't know. I've got this inkling. 56% are voting Wildcard, though, on the Snap Fitness community vote. 44% to LFO. And I would honestly say that's about right. You said, Guz, you would switch to LFO, but I think a 55-45 split is probably about right.
Yeah. I'd love to know how far back you would need to go to see a poll result that close for a wildcard match. I honestly think you'd have to go back to like Pro League season 11, where they had a couple of issues off the back of SI20.
Wildcard nights, like in a final or something, maybe?
Even then, I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah. Yeah, they'd be probably like a 65-35 maybe. Yeah, it's a really good point to bring up. And it's, look, a lot of it is also just how many chances can you keep giving Wildcard? Like, for me, this is their last chance. Like, well, from my own perspective of tipping them, you know? Like, I tipped Wildcard against Order because I thought maybe, just maybe, they got 4 out of 5 of the same players. Surely that they've still got something there in the valley. And they just looked limp. Like, that really should have been like a 7-2 or a 7-1 from watching that series. So they really were poor. They need to be the aggressors here, though, and they need to really just choke out LFO.
Well, a minute into this round, and Wildcard doing the typical attack of trying to clear out Lounge and burn that utility. Quite efficient there, the shield taken down. And Vinny's hologram will confirm that that position is now cleared. Now the task will be to try and open the washroom's wall. As you can see, there's X-Kairos on the wall, but they are muted out. Another piece of utility that Wildcard will need to try and deal with.
It's kind of just a one round at a time here. Both teams. I think even if you're LFO, you're still wary. You see the names in the lobby there, what Wildcard can accomplish at their absolute best. And you've got to be wary of that. So you still give Wildcard the respect that they deserve from previous tournaments. But you also don't want to respect them too much. You got to sense that they're vulnerable. Let's be the aggressors here. Let's see what we can find. Pat. That is a beautiful angle.
Be a scary angle though. That player inside a freezer is quick peeking it. Stogs pretty sharp on the sticks when required and continues to just expose that shoulder and make Pat's life a little bit frustrating. And I mean, look at that timer, Xenox. 50 seconds left. What have Wildcard actually really established here? Or they established that. That's a really nice pick there. Stogs gets over aggressive. He's punished. It's a 4-on-2 now. Jigsaw and Sushi now need to hold on. And so far, this is some really solid aggression and some solid 1v1 action.
They do lose Silix, but outside of that, others are finding kills. LFO down to just Jigsaw and Sushi. Oh my god. I couldn't even get the word out. I think Wildcard did enough early on in this round to at least get a couple of nice frags without just trying to be too aggressive, trying to make too much happen. Sushi's not really going to be able to achieve much from here unless he can throw that perfectly onto the back of Vinny. Pat's there though and immediately picks up the diffuser. Sushi's just going to have to get a different position here. Oh my god, had he been able to just keep going and stop that plant, he would have won the round. He may still do so in 1 versus 1 though. Against Imarin, he knows where he is as well. The ping is out, so he knows exactly where Imarin is. 30 seconds left and he's going to sit on it. He's going to try and bait Imarin to make the push. He gets out, goes in towards Freeze Up, but Imarin swings onto the diffuser, wins the round. That Wildcard almost threw away.
That was so sketchy for Wildcard.
He did like fake his like movement.
Oh my god. That I really did think there was a fair chance that Wildcard could have won that. There was almost a scenario where Sushi actually denied the plant from going down. If that hadn't happened, it almost would have been round over. And Emo rightfully did drop the hatch. He kind of was forced into playing that hen, but you always want to try and have a player on that skylight in the post plant. And obviously they just didn't, which put it on his shoulders really to win that awkward 1v1. Fortunately for Wildcard, he did, but that could have been a little bit more convincing, to be honest.
There was that moment, that brief moment when going into backstore that he just kind of paused rather than making the push on the Pat where he could have then denied it. But it's inches, right? And it's in hindsight, obviously, and from our position, it's very easy to say that. Still made a really good play towards the end of that round. But Imarin kind of faked his movement going into backstore, and we saw that with Sushi. He got off of the diffuser, swung into backstore, sees nothing, and then he's like, uh-oh. Like, at that point, he knows he's dead, as Imran just then swings around from bar. So really, really well played from really both players, Imran and Sushi there towards the end of that round.
10 seconds left.
Sets us up for an exciting half. Wildcard rotating, or pardon me, LFO rotating downstairs.
Attackers are heading out
Kitchen.
to defuse a bomb.
Bringing the Aruni again, we're seeing that in play.
A
Bandit
lot.
as well, a little bit of an obscure selection. I like what I see though. Sogs hasn't placed that bulletproof camera yet though, so not sure where that will be located. Maybe he'll just keep it in the pocket. I do not know.
It's interesting that you mentioned the Aruni. I feel like we're seeing her more than I thought we would. Not as if I'm suggesting I didn't think we'd see her at all,
Yeah, I
but
would agree.
definitely has seen a lot more playtime than I expected. And it's pretty obvious at times it's sort of in place of the castle. I guess it also comes down to preference and just trying new things. But, you know, typically in this first floor site, you can see the castle employed.
There's a player inside a cocktail. Oh, Jigsaw gets lit up. It's Geo to try and win this 1v1. He pre-fires the angle, but Jigsaw narrowly escapes death. I don't think he has a rotate out of laundry though. Now he needs to try and make this cross. Sogs comes alongside to support, but Jigsaw so low on HP. A single bullet to the ankle will be enough to take him down.
Why the ankle?
Well, that's the only angle you can get from the stairs if he runs away.
Right, okay. I just thought you really just don't like ankles or something, but anyway. And a drone just almost jumping into the face of Sogs. Geo now going to drop down into train. Oh, he loses that! I don't know how Geo does, but Sushi comes up big. Advantage LFO for the round so far.
Sushi had a little bit of a rough night last night in the frag department, but already going 3-1. Promising signs off the back of the last round, and a really nice pick there for his team. Does eventually get traded, but the damage has already been done. And now Wildcard with control above have a minute to work with. Geo, though, who was the player to go down, he was the sledge. So a lot of verticality now taken away from Wildcard, and maybe the likes of Hills with C4s from below can compound that pain a little bit more.
When did they got like a 2? One in hand, one in the back pocket. 40 seconds left. I mean, having 2 left actually with 40 seconds is pretty good, especially if Wildcard come in quite late. We saw the impact of how powerful the C4 can be as well to deny planting. We saw that in the last round. Hat just waiting for any flanking opportunities. Doesn't quite find it. Now pushing closer to try and help open this up. Okay. Second time's the charm though. 15 seconds. Laser array. As you said, about 30 damage if you take it, but they can go through the other window in freezer. Jigsaw's just going to wait and sit here. He's got no health. Hills just gets swatted.
Oh, they don't know he's there. They don't know about Jigsaw.
Oh, Silence gets
Jigsaw
denied the plant though. Jigsaw stops it. LFO win the round.
Operators, you are out of time.
They didn't clear it. Wildcard did not clear coffee. Jigsaw, we saw him get lit up early in the round, and I thought his impact would be limited, but in fact he was almost the most critical player in that encounter. He just laid and waited, and no one from Wildcard droned or checked that position. Fair enough. It's pretty off meta. It's pretty unusual, but you need to just dot your I's in that sort of scenario. If I was the coach of Wildcard, I would not be happy with that at all. I'd probably be using some language that is not broadcast friendly. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, big round win for LFO. I mean, Wildcard didn't look totally out of place there. If they actually just check that and get the kill
for
on
sure.
the Jigsaw, they probably like straight up with the round.
100%. You win that gunfight every day of the week. If you know the player's there, it's the easiest swing of your life. He was one shot. You win the round. But you didn't check it, and it literally costs all... And it negates all that hard work you did earlier in the round, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it hurt.
I don't know. I'm ready to call it already and say this is going OT. Why not? I mean, at this point, like, the way the night has played out, I don't think you can actually blame me.
Yeah, true. It's about the only thing you can predict, right? Is whether or not a match will go to OT.
You know, there's actually people that think we, like, hate each other secretly.
10 seconds remaining.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they don't think, they know.
Yeah, they know.
It's no secret, really.
They're the ones who actually caught on. They're like, these guys actually hate each other.
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't being paid, I definitely would pass with you.
It's not like anyone else
Can
is
we get
lining up to
Raven
cast
back?
with you.
Is it too late? Is it too late to
Oh,
ask to have Raven
jeez,
back?
no, not Raven.
I don't know, man. We were a bit of a dynamic duo back in the day. That's all I'll say.
That's all fun and games here at the Oceanic Nationals. Doesn't need to be serious every second of the day. Jigsaw holding out over at Pixel, which is not what it used to be.
Wildcard prepping to clear that util. Flashes head out. Concussion alongside with Pat and Jigsaw. Gets out of there as it lights up like a Christmas tree, and that's probably the best decision to make. And in fact, he's long, long gone. So good, efficient clear there from Wildcard. They hit that 2-minute mark, and they're getting some work done. Washroom's angle exposed as well, so maybe that's a little bit of a fault. They don't know necessarily that that is clear, despite Jigsaw running away quite quickly. But that'll be confirmed pretty soon. I was going to say with that hologram, but caught in the Surya gate. And they probably need to drone ahead here, Wildcard, and just confirm that everything is clear for them to push up.
Okay. Jigsaw just catching Pat on the east side here. I'm imagining Pat was just like repelling or something.
Yeah, potentially. Not 100% sure, but I do know that Hills is under the pump here a little bit. Top of white stairs. Powerful angle to be held as Vinny gets lit up by a C4 from below. Wildcard just getting stalled out here a little bit. I mean, in the first minute, they did so much work, and now in the second minute of the round, they've almost done nothing, it feels like.
They've got no
This
control
Cocktail
over
will be tough.
Cocktail at all, and there's 55 seconds left in the round. There's a trade, so from 4-5 to 3-4. Also got to deal with the Sawyer gate as well. And Nasty's still in there as well with the Goyo shield. So, I mean, like, this is looking really rough for Wildcard. Like, they haven't even gotten control of Cocktail.
Salix trying to find this pick, but there's really no reason for Nasty to peek. Jigsaw catches him off guard.
What is
Emo
going
forced
on?
to repel. It's taken off the board, and yeah, that's just really not great by Wildcard. Unfortunate that it played out in that way for them. But I mean, I don't want to be too negative here. Full props to LFO, right? They set up really nicely inside of Cocktail. The Surya gate, the Goyo shield, the two ADS devices made that really, really tricky.
But
Wildcard,
I don't know. I can't help but feel like you're expecting to see a setup like that, though, right? Some teams don't commit as hard to it, but you're still expecting it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It wasn't cleared well. I mean, to be blunt, it really was not cleared well. But hey, LFO can only do what they can do, and great work by them. Really not contested too hard in that position. And
No, they played well. They played it really, really well.
They just played solid. They didn't do anything unnecessary. They didn't overpeak. And
Jigsaw at white stairs and just that whole white corridor area also played that really, really well. 4 kills on the Malusi. Doing good. Doing good things at the moment. LFO 2-1 up in this final match of the night. In fairness to Wildcard, I will say this. It is one of the trickier sites to win on Cafe when you're attacking, because despite seeing that setup every single time, guys, it doesn't mean it's easy to take it down. There's a reason why defense plays that way. So I don't know. Don't want to be too critical, but at the same time, don't want to give them a free pass. It's a really tricky territory.
Upstairs defense again here for LFO. Keeping in mind that the last time this objective was played, it was quite a close round. Came down to the 1v1 there between Emorin and Sushi in the post plant. A round that really could have gone either way if you flipped the coin. It was a little bit messy from Wildcard in the end, so they'll be looking to tighten up that execute. Outside of that, though, let's be honest, it was actually quite efficient, right? They cleared Pixel pretty cleanly. They set up for the plant pretty cleanly. It was really just the last little part that was a little bit questionable, but again,
Oh no, man! It's Jigsaw is on right now. He's got 5. Geo is on the complete opposite, 1 and 4. And you know I'm a big Geo fanboy as well, guys.
And understandably so. He was the top-rated player in this region last season. The best of the best. The top-rated, most kills, best KD. for the most part, and yeah, really struggling here tonight on Cafe. So it's now up to someone else from Wildcard to step up. Salix as well struggling in the frag department, but again, we're not expecting huge things from the sub. So really, that leaves the likes of Vinny, Emo, and Pat to do a lot of heavy lifting here, and that's a lot to ask.
Minute and a half remaining. Not much of a foothold. I mean, Vinny's in top red. That's it. Everyone else is still outside. They've still got to also clear Sushi and Train.
The attackers bomb diffuser
There's a lot to do, guys, and there's only a minute and 20 seconds left.
Sushi down below. C4 in pocket, could be big late round. Wildcard needs to be mindful of those flanks. I'm sure Emorin, who has used all 3 of his air jabs, has established flank watch, but of course they still need to be a little bit vigilant of that. Progression, again, a little bit slow here in the latter phase of the round. A minute to go. Really don't know what Wildcard are going to try and do here. Salix, I assume, will be opening up backstore and maybe try and generate some angles. He actually already has. So I feel like Wildcard now can maybe start seriously thinking about the plant, but it looks like they're just waiting back and hoping that LFO give them another free pick to get it to that 4 and 4.
This is just trying to repeat what happened last time. Catch the player and freeze it, but it's going to be the opposite this time. Vinny does get Sogs, but Sogs had already got Pat first. Diffuser's down next to Bar. There's a player in Cocktail as well. Did obviously take out Sogs in Freezer. Diffuser was actually... Sorry, Diffuser. The C4 actually on the Diffuser there. Sushi down below. 14 seconds left. They're just going to have to try and push in, clear out. They do get at least Nasty.
10 seconds.
Vinny's trying to do as much as he can, but Jigsaw is just popping off right now. He's got 3 for the round. And speaking of the round, it's going to go surely the way of LFO. 3-1.
Really solid work there from LFO. Wildcard sitting back hoping they would get free picks, but they really just did not come. In the end, LFO traded it out very, very nicely. Capped off the round with the final kill. 3-1 the lead. It's really, honestly, just not looking good for Wildcard here at all, is it? Yeah, it's so hard to try and hype them up at the moment. I feel like we're almost beating a man half dead.
No, but like that's the thing.
It's just the reality.
I've been casting for 5 years now, guys. I've never seen anything like this. Like, I've never been in this position before. It's really difficult to be in this position and speaking about a team of this caliber. With the players on this roster, 4 out of 5 are still there. I mean, I understand that there's the mental side of things outside of just mechanical skills. And it's very evident to me that there's something wrong. There's just obviously something wrong. What that is and the specifics of it, we don't know. We're not privy to that information, but Wildcard, it just sort of hurts to see what was once a absolutely amazing team from top to bottom end up in this sort of situation where I think if they lose this, they already are bottom. So they lose this, they're definitely going to be by themselves on 0 points after 2 days.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, and when I heard the news about Diesel unfortunately leaving indefinitely, I thought,
Attackers have located a
oh, it's Wildcard. Like, they'll be okay. First stage will be sort of survival. They'll still probably linger around the top 4. They'll be all right. They'll bounce back. During the next transfer period, they can get a gunner in. They'll be fine. But so far, it has just been so much worse than that. I want to see them do well. I mean, everyone wants to see Wildcard do well. They're literally going to be representing the team, or the region rather, at the Six Invitational in May if they end up going. But the way they're playing now, that's just really not going to be pretty to watch. So I really want to see them bounce back here, just in general. They have the players to do that. I think, again, will probably come down to more of that mental side and trying to get everyone on the same page and trying to bring themselves back up from what has been a really difficult loss.
Well, to try and turn the frown upside down, I do want to celebrate Jigsaw, who has just been immense in this matchup so far in the first 4 rounds, 7 kills, clutch moments as well. And if we also go back for Sushi, he had an opportunity to clutch the initial opening round. There's a very big opportunity that this could have been 0-4 had Sushi closed that out. There's obviously ifs and buts and all of that, but it just shows that even the one round that Wildcard did win was ever so close. As speaking of the devil, Sushi finding another that's like the third one, I think, like for LFO finding a kill at Wildcard in this match. That's like the third Nitrocell kill.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been 2 in a row where it's been the opening pick as well. Normally C4 is a more critical late round, so yeah, really just compiling the hurt for Wildcard at the moment. But Geo, he does get another pick in this map. Traded out eventually by Sushi, who's also popping off as well so far. Not traded on that occasion, as Vinny was a little bit too far behind. Wildcard in the 3-on-4, but doesn't feel like, again, a whole lot has been done to the site. And that time has really ticked down. I mean, even me, it's caught me off guard just how long is left in this round. I'm sure Wildcard will realize shortly that they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. In fact, they're already in a lot of trouble as it is. Fortunately, Silex does trade that pick eventually. You need to now go big alongside Vinny to try and win this round.
45 seconds left. Vinny's going to have to go up huge. Silex as well, just talk about being thrown into the deep end. I mean, he's more than capable, of course, ex-pro player and all, but and knowledge to boot. LFO primed to close out this 5th round. Gemini is going to be used by Vinny. This is going to be the last time he's going to be able to get any information with it. Now he's got to go. He's got 20 seconds. Silex as well is going to start to follow in. He's got to, essentially, I don't think Silex can just stop running here. Like, he has to just get onto site and try and stick this diffuser. Vinny's just going to try and clear the way for him as much as he possibly can. But if they're both just funneling in from the same direction, that's exactly what's going to happen. LFO close out the round as expected. It's 4-1.
Good little crossfire there from LFO, and I really want to highlight Sushi in that round. The man's popping off around the map. Like I briefly mentioned earlier last night, it was a bit of a struggle streak for him. I can't exactly remember what his stats were, but they weren't amazing. And it can be sometimes difficult to find form if you don't start off the season very well. So to bounce back against Wildcard, great opportunity for him to build upon that and look good for the rest of the season. Wildcard really just struggling to shut him down, and the trading just not quite there. And I mean, again, full credit to LFO. They're really capitalizing upon that.
You can only play the opponent that's in front of you. You can only play Wildcard if they're not at their best. It is what it is. You got to take the win when you can get it. You still got to also play well enough to get said win. Jigsaw, Sushi, putting on a clinic right now, the two of them. Not that Hills, Nasty, Sogs are playing bad or anything. I mean, they're supporting nicely. On the flip side for Wildcard, though, I mean, Vinny and Emo kind of doing good things. It's really hard to, like, just even speak about Wildcard individually here. When they're down 4-1, it's pretty clear there's not really anyone that's stepping up to the plate to try and carry the workload. It's got to be a team effort. This is the thing. At best, if you've got, like, 1 or 2 guys that are, like, carrying the workload, that might get you a few rounds, Guz, but to win, you need a team effort.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and I think that's really important in a game like Siege. I think it might have been, was it you or Manik or someone said the other day that in some other esports titles you can get away with maybe a sub here or there, but a Siege is just so imperative that every single player is on the same page and really executing their role to the best of their ability. Otherwise it starts to crumble really, really quickly, and we can see from Wildcard that sure, Silex is putting in a great effort, but again, it's just difficult to see the team playing as cohesively as they once were. Really, really tough situation for them, but look, they're no doubt trying their best. Jigsaw is again holding Pixel. I think it's already been cleared. In fact, it has, and he'll just fall off. So, deja vu of that previous round we saw where Jigsaw hung around for 45 seconds, and the second that first flash came in, runs away, and we'll just continue to try and bleed time.
Looks like pretty much a identical setup here in Cocktail as well, which, for reference, last time Wildcard could not get a single foot into Cocktail. They're all dead by the time anyone got even remotely close. In sort of months gone past, the idea is with maybe a minute left, you get control of Cocktail, and then you can. There, Pat does catch Jigsaw though, and that is a huge pickup over at White Stairs. Where I believe it was the opposite last time. Pat got picked up when he was repelling.
Jigsaw has been really annoying in the early rounds, so
Oh,
taking him
that's
down
a
is
nutty
huge,
angle.
but nasty with the setup at Cocktail manages to find Geo, who again is finding tonight really, really tough. More gunfights rain out, as Vinny will eventually clear that position. And now Wildcard finally have cleared Cocktail and can work above.
They got a minute. A little scrappy, but they get there in the end. They did at least get more kills than LFO. So 50 seconds left, man advantage. It's a must-win round from this position as well for Wildcard. It's still not easy from here. I mean, once you get Cocktail, doesn't necessarily mean you win. I feel like that Sawyer gate, though, is going to make it really difficult to get that default plant. Not impossible, although that does make it difficult for Sogs to watch that door position. 20 seconds left.
Does look like Wildcard will set up for a drop over towards pillars and maybe push the reading door. So pretty default here from Wildcard, and LFO will need to try and deny it, but it will be tricky with that vert that was established. But Sogs could go for a flank. It's all going down in towards the site. Salix is sticking that plant. Sogs making noise over towards the drop. Narrowly misses those shots, but stays alive and is left in 1v3 in the post plant. But Wildcard, clinical from them in the end to claim the round.
Well, a much needed way to close out the half for Wildcard. They were looking quite dead and buried. Down 4-1. But at least just getting that one back keeps them in it. But if they are going to win this on Cafe Guz, I'm still sensing it's got to be done through OT. It's either going to be OT or LFO may just win it in regular time.
Can we put a ban on Xenox saying OT for overtime? Is that possible?
If it keeps happening tonight, I can't do anything about it.
It's gonna be a new crutch word. Alright. This setup from Wildcard. First time we're seeing them defend this site tonight. Long angles created from backstall into lounge. They've also got the now pretty default rotate from Pixel towards washrooms and white hallway, and I'm sure they'll probably combine that with some Surya gates maybe to fortify those positions. It's a little bit hard to see the red lasers on the red carpet, but we do see one there over towards the shop door, and I believe there's also one on the window, so they're probably trying to slow down the pixel take as much as possible. And I'd say there's a real possibility that Emo-Rin, for example, might actually play there as long as possible, because of course those discs do regenerate and he can continue to place them and fortify his position.
Going over to the defense might just be the tonic for Wildcard as well. Try and allow LFO to maybe play into their hands. A good start. Jigsaw's just got a little bit quiet since we pumped him up. I think he was like 7-1 and now 7-5. Has just come to a bit of a halt. And with that, LFO have also suffered a little bit as well in that previous round. Do need to be careful that they don't lose too many players too early, too often. Attacking with a man down is going to be oh so difficult. And I think that it's weird, but you got to remember Wildcard is still nutty. Like deep down in there is some really good players.
100%. I still think if they play their best, they're easily a top 2 team, even with Salix on the roster. Just got to see that team shine through. As I mentioned, Salix, he does get lit up playing the aggressive position behind the shield in backstore. Vinny, he finds the second for his team in this round. That was Sushi down below. Maybe repelling? He might have jumped out bus window. In fact, I believe that is exactly what has happened, or at least he got shot through the window. So Wildcard now positioned quite nicely, and LFO will need to pull off something special to win this round back.
You You got Vinny roaming around near pillar as well, so it's ever so troubling for LFO this round. 3-4 certainly beckoning, it feels that way, and Wildcard looking to bring this match back. As we've seen pretty much in every match tonight, there's been one team that pushes out to a pretty significant lead, and then it's clawed right back. Sogs not going to be pushing much further than that. Neither is Hills either. Stopped by Geo. Nasty makes it down to at least a 1 versus 3. Needs a quad if he's going to be able to save the round, but it's not going to happen. Emerin wins it for Wildcard, and they do bring it back now to 3-4 after having a 4-1 deficit.
Good start in that round for Wildcard. They found a couple of key picks. They played off them, and it worked out for them in the end. Looking to tighten up that margin. Find themselves back into this match. LFO just need to probably be a little bit more careful in the early rounds. I know Jigsaw is someone that we highlighted as struggling a little bit in the last few, despite having a strong start to the map. So if he tightens up alongside the rest of the team and they really force some of these late executes, that's probably when they'll probably That's probably when that's probably when they'll find some more success.
Mate, I feel like you're in the constellations.
Protect your bombs from
Ah,
use by
jeez.
attackers.
How do you remember that?
What do you mean, how do I remember that? I'm going to remember the probably.
That happened hours ago. I mean, you can't remember the call-outs on Clubhouse, but you can remember that.
Maybe Wildcard is just remembering how to play a little bit here.
Oh, that's toxic.
You disagree?
I would say they've necessarily forgotten to play the last couple of days, but maybe they forgot to play at their best.
You know, turn the monitor. Like, you know what? We'll turn the monitors on, take the blindfolds off. We've tricked everyone into believing that we're actually bad, but low key, we're still nuts.
5 seconds
They're just
left.
sandbagging at the start of the season, so teams
exactly.
wouldn't prepare for
Yeah,
it. That would be a very big brain strat.
that would be a 1000 IQ strat. I think there is, though, the real possibility that for Wildcard, it's just a matter of finding a bit of momentum. At some point, whether it's in this game or not, but at some point, they're going to have like a good couple of rounds and a good couple of games and relieve whatever mental pressure or stress that there may be and just find a bit of form. And once they find that form, they can kind of realize just how good they still are. Not that I would say that they think that they're bad. I don't know where I'm going with this, guys. All I'm saying is Wildcard, good.
I feel like it's one of those topics you really have to tip your toe around.
Oh god, it's hard.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly, it's very difficult to try and, I guess, objectively assess the situation for Wildcard. But I mean, so far, I'd say they're playing this map better than the last two.
Yeah.
Or at least one in OCN, one in APAC South. LFO will need to still play very, very well here to win. Which they have for the most part. Truthfully, LFO have been playing quite well. I like this from Jigsaw though, playing the LMG. Saw this last night. Bit of work was being done.
I think also
So-
just Jigsaw playing a bit more patient as well, rather than just like rushing down, droning himself forward. I think this is a bit better. And as you said before, if he plays with his team, then they can do good things.
I mean, yeah, the whole team's playing quite patiently. They're establishing the vert safely. They're setting up the flank watch with the nomads, and now they're pressuring the site and making it uncomfortable for Wildcard to sit in there and try and just relax a bit. They're constantly being forced to move around. Pat, for example, has moved at least 3 or 4 times in the last 10 seconds, as that vert sort of forces him away from those safer positions.
He's not done moving either.
Got ants in his pants.
There's still a minute on the clock as well. I mean, LFO at least getting some pressure here with this vert. Not too much in way of pressure on site, but at least the vert pressure's there. Vinny just sitting out in bakery. I mean, someone may come late game through bakery, but I don't believe so. Not at this stage. Jigsaw's just going to get drawn down wide stairs. Wildcard are in position though, and I think with 35 seconds left, this should play into the hands of Wildcard. This is where they're at their best. 5 alive, defensively in good positions, and just wait for LFO to sort of funnel in and find a couple of quick, easy frags, win the round.
Well, if LFO want to go for the freezer execute, they probably need to clear Emerin. He's in a strong position behind the shield, and he's really going to be a key in denying this push down white.
He does swing it, but he's also concussed as well. Jigsaw wins that one. Pat, though, with the shotgun in kitchen will surprise Sushi. He's going to get a second one here as they all just try and funnel in through this door. They cannot get the diffuser down. No surprise, Wildcard win the round. I think we could see how that was going to play out with at least a good 40 seconds left.
It almost worked too. I think LFO were maybe just a little bit too conservative in the mid-round. I did praise them for being patient and not giving away a free pick, but at the same time, they established that vert and then it didn't really feel like they did a whole lot. Sure, they cleared Emo in, but by that stage, it was about 10 or 15 seconds left. They were forced to filter through the door, and Pat, who repositioned 15 times, found the best position, which was right at that freezer door, prone with a shotty, and made them pay. LFO just didn't have the time to react.
I think the biggest thing is, and it's good that you mentioned that, but if they had have actually gotten the frag on Pat, like as he's running around like a chicken with his head cut off down in kitchen, if you find that frag somewhere through the floorboards, he's not going to be sitting there with a shotty, is he, right? So that changes up the dynamic of that push quite significantly. Imran was the big one, but even Imran didn't even find the frag, right? Like we were expecting him to on the play from White Stairs. So an opportunity gone begging for LFO, but credit to Wildcard. They persevered, played that well. They tie it up 4-4. They've now won 3 rounds in a row. So from 4-1 to 4-4, they can continue to defend here. And well, I think they'll be pretty favored on this Reading Fireplace site as well.
10 seconds to go.
Well, we did see Wildcard have some issues on their attack clearing Cocktail. It looks like they're going to make life difficult for LFO on their attack. Lots of utility invested above. No Irene on this occasion, which we did see from LFO, instead opting to go for more traditional operators. Pat taking some damage there as the rotate, or the foothold rather, is made. A little bit sloppy there for Wildcard, but could have been a lot worse. That shot, he can definitely do a lot more damage. Nonetheless, though, LFO looking to set up for, I believe, a top-down take. As the players repel to the roof. And I mean, this is pretty typical on Cafe. Honestly, if I'm being completely candid, I'm getting a bit sick of this map because every attack just boils down to taking down top 4. But hey, it is what it is.
Oh, he complains about Oregon, then he complains about Cafe, then he's going to probably complain about Clubhouse. He just wants Chalet 24/7.
I'm not going to say that because I know that later in the year we're probably going to get heaps of Chalet, and then I'm going to hate Chalet.
LFO going to clear out that pixel position. Now Imran falls back through White Corridor. Pat getting the elimination onto Nasty, and Wildcard just continue to have this man advantage at the beginning of rounds quite early on as well. Usually around the minute and a half, minute and 45-second mark as well. Just finding these picks that LFO have not really been able to do since the early stages of this map, guys.
I love this angle from Silex. Watching underneath the skylight could catch Hills off guard as he swings with the Ash charge in hand, but both players back off for the time being. Silex has more discs, but that one's a little bit too late. Doesn't quite catch it, and the shield is taken down. The time wasting has been pretty adequate though. LFO only over a minute to work with now to try and establish that vert and flush out these positions.
C4 on the Cocktail doorway. Not going to find anyone. Still a minute left, and they will have Cocktail control. There's actually, well, the fact that Imran and Pat are so low as well. I mean, LFO's not in a horrible position here. It's really imperative though that they finish off strongly in this round.
I think this is going to come down to a brute force. They're probably going to drop pillar and go for a reading plant. Maybe a player from LFO will stay above and watch some of those rotates. But like you said, LFO in a pretty decent position considering the HP, but
this is aggressive.
Made it up white. Oh, this could be huge.
There's no one in there though. There's no one playing in Cocktail at the moment. So Vinny's just going to swing on through. Our player literally just drops down. Oh, Vinny gets caught. He's knifed by Sogs. Oh, no. 10 seconds left. Sogs can't find the double though. Well, he can actually. Somehow he got Silex. He did die for it, immediately traded. What is going on? It's a 1 versus 1. 2 seconds left. Jigsaw though doesn't have the diffuser. What a round.
Operators, you have run out of time.
I want to know what Jigsaw's shooting at then.
Nah,
Did
he's
he
just
have
frustrated.
intel?
No, he's
No, no.
Surely
I think
not.
he had. Surely he had a yellow pin. Why else would he shoot where Emo Rim
I
was?
don't know,
mean,
he's
anyway,
just
whatever.
like, I don't have the diffuser, I can't do anything. Like, I'm just frustrated.
Whatever. That's besides the point. That was unfortunate for Vinny. Let's just put it that way. He got timed on the drop, and then Sogs just teleported literally out of nowhere and knifed him in the back. So that
I
was,
actually did not.
that's pretty
I don't know. Did you see Sogs? Like,
No, I had no idea.
I
he was
had,
there.
I had no idea who was there.
I
as
was
well.
just as surprised.
I
as
thought
Vinny.
they'd all dropped down.
Yeah, same.
Just teleported. Was he just like what, sitting in backstore, but we just didn't see his we didn't see him? Like the way, I don't know, just like a timing thing. Regardless, Wildcard won the round. And they've now won 4 rounds in a row. LFO have come to a complete halt. And we spoke about Sushi before, he's now 7-7. The things that were working for LFO when they were winning their rounds are no longer working, and that's the concern. It's like, okay, plan A was good, plan A was going good, plan A no longer working. Have we got plan B? What is plan B? And I think LFO are searching for that question and that answer.
10 seconds left.
Topstairs defense from Wildcard looking very similar to their previous attempt.
Attackers are moving to defuse the bomb.
In fact, almost identical in the way that they've reconstructed the site. They've got, again, that shield in washrooms. They've got the shield at Pixel, the shield at Backstore. That's all to make life difficult for LFO if they go for a lounge push, and judged by their spawns and initial repels, that looks like exactly what they will attempt. We have seen some teams, for example, push reading, flush out cocktail from below, but it is quite risky, a little bit more unorthodox and harder to pull off. Not to say that, again, this will be easy, but probably better trained by LFO.
I think I'm just going to be quite blunt here. I think LFO just need to find the opening frag. They haven't done so for like the last 4 rounds. They need some sort of an advantage moving forward. Wildcard are in a bit of a groove here. They've found their rhythm. They're on song. I don't know how many other ways I could say it, but they're doing well.
They play good.
They shoot people.
Attackers have located the
They do
bomb.
it good. But it's
How
true.
good is LFO's utility clearance? That's what I want to know. Pretty good so far. That disc from Emo, even though, will provide some additional protection to, I believe, both shields, and those ADS devices should reactivate as well. So LFO are actually finding this quite tricky, and Emo Rin assesses the situation, gets blinded, and will probably now fall back, knowing that it's a bit of a lost cause. LFO taking control of shop, and should
That
be
shield's still
taking
up.
control of lounge soon. Yeah, I don't know how that should survive, but that's big for Wildcard.
Can continue to really just hold this pixel and washroom position. Even though the pixel shield's gone, you can still just hold your washroom. It's been quite a bit of utility committed as well to this position. So for LFO, they're probably not too happy with this because Emerin can just still hold up here. There's a minute left. I mean, Wildcard have committed utility to themselves to hold this washroom's position, but right now you're laughing if you're LFO. If you're a Wildcard, you're laughing with this.
Silex again holding aggressively inside of backstore, quick peeking left and right behind that deployable shield. Is really the first line of defense against this lounge push, and it's critical that he finds the pick on the player that's likely about to swing. In fact, there's probably going to be about 5 players swinging this position very, very shortly, and he needs to try and
he
hold
comes
out.
back.
Emo Rin, though, he's repositioned. This could be big.
Oh, he's gonna. Well, I thought maybe he was gonna get caught there by the swing. Sushi's on site, by the way. He's gonna get this diffuser planted and down. Sogs finds a quick double kill for LFO. Imran trying to make something happen, and finally is successful with a frag on the jigsaw. Vinny's just getting lit up right now, though, by Sogs, who's got 3 in the round from the skylight position. Has just completely obliterated Bar. Imarin now also has to be pretty careful here, along with Geo. They do need to flush out heals, and they are successful in doing so. Nasty, though,
Ooh.
is such an important play in this position. Imarin, though, gets him 1 versus 1. I mean, Sox surely can't lose this, Guts.
Oh,
Didn't he peek? The balls on this man.
oh, he shakes his head. He knows. He knows. Well played there by Sogs. The most
Yeah.
powerful position in a post plant in almost any objective in the game, I would say, in competitive.
Yeah.
Provided Sogs doesn't have a peak, he wins
The only
that
way he
every day
loses
or
that if he
probably.
had a peeked early. But
Yep. He
He
knew
played-
he was going to fake it. It's
Yeah.
it's extremely common, and when the diffuser or the counter diffuse takes 7 seconds, you've got a pretty big window of opportunity to make your play. So very well played.
Huge round from Sogs up in Skylight and wins the round essentially single-handedly. What, he got a quad, right? So
Yeah, not bad. Seen worse.
just hard to please.
Very true.
Could you imagine if there was like 0.5 seconds left on that, and by missing the initial shot,
Yeah.
there's a universe in where that happened, but it's not this one. 5-5. Overtime is beckoning. It's calling. It's got my name on it, guys. That's all I'm saying. Whoever wins this round will be on match point. Man, I feel like we've almost played every single round possible to play tonight. If only they had been all 8-7s instead of 8-6s.
Yeah, it's been a long night for sure. Almost coming up to midnight now for us and a lot of the players. Don't think there's any players in the server at the moment from New Zealand. Wouldn't want to be, because that would be quite the marathon effort. Nonetheless, heading into round 11, I was a little bit upset. I think it was Sogs jumped off the 0 via a 6-pick. I haven't seen, I don't think any 0 played in OCN, correct me if I'm wrong.
I've never seen
We
it.
did see a little bit of it. I think it was Meloncat in 6 Invitational Calls actually played it. And I quite like 0 when played well. Probably better suited to some of the more aggressive maps like Coastline, which I think they were quite efficient on it with. Because of course it has that double-edged sword, you can clear utility. It's actually like a triple-edged sword because you can clear utility with the single blast. You can also establish flank watch, and of course just gain general intel. So unfortunately we didn't see that, but maybe 0 will get a bit more play later in the year. We'll have to wait and see. Ooh.
Ooh.
That would have impressed me.
Pretty good game sense though from Nasty actually there to just hold that position, fall back a little bit. Sogs aggressive through the floorboards there. Still 1 minute and 48 seconds in what is probably going to be a round that comes down to the last 20 seconds. Let's be real. The way it's kind of shaping up already. Not too
Well,
much of a surprise.
I hope LFO do speed it up a bit, right? Because we saw last time they were quite slow, conservative, and then they were forced to filter through Freezer with about 15 seconds left and were shut down. Good C4 there. It'll get picked up though. And I think as I was saying, it's imperative that they're nice and quick, nice and efficient. Maybe try and find a pick or two through the floor and actually put some pressure back on Wildcard for that execute and make them feel a little bit more uncomfortable.
Well, this is the thing, right? It's just sort of what we spoke about after that round. You know, Pat's in a pretty similar position. If they can somehow get the kill onto Pat, that can open up that Freezer side quite a bit better. They'll be ready for it, though. Still a minute left, though. Oh, see, this is what I'm saying. The man just can't be caught.
C4 they could, Nade rather, could head out, but he's already moved deep in towards Coffee. That's where we saw Jigsaw earlier hit a big clutch for LFO, but now it's Pat posted up in that position. Once again, shotgun and SMG combo in hand. He's going to be a key player to clear here for LFO. If they manage to trade that pick, they could well get the plant down behind the bomb chassis, but I mean, it's easy to say that, but it's a harder thing actually pulling that off.
24 seconds left in this round. Match point is on the other side of it. Sushi is going to now drop down. They do catch Pat. This is a big difference to what we saw last time around. Imran's still in VIP. Needs to this time actually win the exchange over at White Stairs. If he doesn't, I think they lose the round. He doesn't again. He's lost it twice now. Nasty winning that one. Vinny finds one at least onto Sogs. Diffuser's going to go down by Sushi. Denied! Huge deny! And Wildcard clutch up the round.
I don't know how Gio was allowed to run to that position. We saw Nasty on Brown Stairs pull off a fantastic pinch there onto Emo-Rin, who was holding behind the shield. I don't know where he moved from there, but he clearly wasn't holding the long corridor. Clearly did not prevent Gio from making that rotate. Fantastic play from him, and he finally steps up in what has been quite a rough map for him.
And it's match point now for Wildcard. But so far tonight, as we have seen 3 times before, match point doesn't seem to be the end point. Bar Cocktail, LFO, it's all up to you guys now. Are you going to set the story? Sure. Okay. Warden 6-pick.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, that's a little bit spicy. Guess Geo maybe just feeling a little bit more comfortable on the MPX with the angled. He might be able to post up and replace Emorin's position and counter the flashes, but I guess you'd probably keep Emorin there for the discs anyway, so I guess we'll have to just wait and see where Geo ultimately decides to play. He's actually reinforcing downstairs at the moment, so that indicates that maybe he'll actually play inside of reading or pillars. I'll have to wait and see. One thing I do want to say is that we can congratulate Wildcard on earning their first point in OCN. Woo! Yeah, let's go.
Seconds left.
Can they
That's
get
big.
2? Can they get 3? We are about to find out.
They could still get 1.
It could just be the one.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Maybe.
Maybe. LFO. Feel like it's all on them though, right? They've got to make the plays. They've got to find the frags. It feels like they should have won the last round. Credit to Wildcard for turning it around in their favor when it matters the most, which is at the end of the round. And Wildcard have been doing this really without Geo popping off. Pat's been good, Vinny, Emorin. Stalwarts of this Wildcard roster as they have been for a while now.
Utility from the skylight early here from Soggs. He's already sent out a grenade. It landed but didn't clear the shield. Pings it out and might have a second crack at it. In fact, I believe it's a teammate that throws the second nade. Actually, no. No one else has nades. And maybe it was... I actually don't know what that explosion was. Either way, making a bit of a fool of myself here. Either way, the important thing is that shield is still standing and Salix's position still pretty well fortified. Actually, it may have been the wall getting blown. That was that explosion. But Salix needs to be careful. There's a player entering inside of Lounge. Close towards that shop door. Emorin might be able to swing wide, but the flame's preventing him from doing so.
Ooh. Silix just catching a nade from Sogs. They can drop down into Cigar as well. Still a lot of time, but they haven't flushed out Emorin's position over at Pixel and Washrooms. Trying to just keep the pressure on. Make it difficult for LFO to sort of push onto site. Big kill from Geo. In the clutch moments as well, at match point to get involved now on the Warden. Feels like they've just got to take out Emorin. If they can do that without losing any more players, LFO are going to be in a good position.
LFO still haven't really properly cleared out Pixel. Emorin will be really under the pump now. That's a huge angle to open up inside of Washrooms, and he needs to decide whether to commit or fall back. He does fall back, a little bit slow, but he still gets away with his life as Pat finds the pick there on Sushi. He replaced Silix in this key position, and he drops the diffuser down. LFO need to try and recover it, and with 30 seconds, prepare for a plant, but Geo's going big now as well. Traded back, though, from Stogs, leaving it in the 2-on-3.
Is it the Sog shot again? No, Pat peeks that beautifully behind the shield, and Wildcard close it out. And they are on the board. All 3 points will go the way of Wildcard. No OT, they say. And that's going to shoot them up the standings as well. Wildcard are back.
It looked a little bit dicey at the start there for Wildcard, but they hit their form on the back end, and they managed to claim all 3 points, as you mentioned. Vinny will top score in that match, going 10 and 8. Pat finding 13 as well, huge from him, often not going huge in the frag department. And that's what I said, we needed Vinny, Pat, and Emo to step up when Geo fell short, and they did. Wildcard to get the dub.
Certainly did, and for the first time tonight, no OT. No Oregon, no OT, that's the trend. All squashed. Wildcard, of course, they pick up their first win in what feels like weeks, months? I don't even know anymore, guys. I've lost count.
Too long.
Too long is the correct answer. They go to 3 points. They get all 3 points. That's the other part of it. LFO get nothing from that game. They are the only team on 0 points.
Yeah, which is rough. I did expect LFO heading into this season to probably not be in the best form. I just feel like things are not quite going their way, but I think they played all right tonight, to be honest. If they had have played like this maybe against Bliss, they could have actually taken the map, which they ultimately should have anyway last night. So it's not
They
all
should
doom
have.
and gloom for LFO. They can pick themselves up and continue to tally some points on the board. I don't think this is going to be a devastating season for them necessarily.
There is another part of this that hasn't been spoken about with this result. I've caught up on 3 people. So, you know, in the predictions, there's 3 people. Thank you. I'll get there eventually. Well, hey, lucky you didn't change your tip though. Let's go and have a look at the statistics from this.
I was going to.
From this matchup, 7-5 to Wildcard, led by Pat in the end of all people. Imran, Vinny, all good. Geo coming up big actually when it mattered the most in those later rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the one number that's really sticking out to me actually is the consistency of the KOST there from Wildcard. Across the board, quite strong. And basically, KOST, TLDR, I mean, so many acronyms I'm using here, is basically, did they have an impact in the round, yes or no? And as you can see, a lot of their players consistently did. More so than some of the players on LFO, for example. You see both Jigsaw and Sogs, sure, they did pretty strong in the frag department, but they just weren't as consistent. And we actually highlighted that in the match, remember? Jigsaw started off super hot, but then he dropped off, and Wildcard capitalized upon that.
I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Little disappointing from Hills, just the 3-9 there, matching sort of the 3-10 from Silex, but I guess they go kind of hand in hand. And I mean, if you want to talk about the KOST though, 92% still higher than just about everyone else besides Nasty, who had a pretty good game according to that metric. So it's kind of rough for LFO. 2 7-5s, like they get nothing from it. I kind of feel like they've been robbed of a point or two over the course of the first 2 play days, but at the end of the day, they get no one else to blame but themselves for not being able to close out any of these games and try and send them to OT. Like even the Bliss one, I think at minimum should have gone to OT, and then this one could have easily also gone to OT as well. So I think LFO really going to be kicking themselves. There's a big difference between 0 points now of these 2 games versus say 2 points they could have also had.
Yeah, and I guess just quickly wrapping up the stats there, one thing that really popped into my mind right at the very end then was actually the entry stats. We saw really strong entry numbers there for LFO, suggesting to me that their early round was quite strong. Again, something that we talked about. But Wildcard, we know that they're really strong in the lane. That's how they won a lot of their rounds, right? I mean, one round in particular that really comes to mind was that Geo clutch, right? When he hit that shot in the dying seconds of the round to win it. And that's what they need to try and tidy up if they want to try and take down some of the better teams.
Definitely. So I agree with you as always. Got our interview coming up. Of course, it is going to be the ever lovable Vinny, who, let's face it, mate, all I'm going to say is, does it feel good to get the monkey off the back?
Yeah, it feels awesome. I forgot that I hadn't made my bed. I wasn't really expecting us to do this interview, but I'm glad we are.
I mean, I guess that leads into my first question. I guess I could start. It could be a pretty brief question. Just how rough has it been for you guys the last couple of weeks? Obviously, for those who don't know, Diesel left the team pretty unexpectedly, and you guys have had to sort of salvage something, at least for this first stage. Just how rough has it actually really been in the camp?
It's been a mix of emotions. It's been obviously a lot of support for Kyle. He's given so much to this team, and we know that you know, he really needed this, and we fully support him. At the same time, it's been rough. You know, it's a bit of a shock to the system when you're kind of riding that high, and then it kind of all collapses pretty quickly. It doesn't take much, as you can tell. And yeah, we're just kind of trying to pick up the pieces a little bit and really just salvage what we can. We need to win games like this, and we hope to take a few more this season.
Just keeping it blunt here, but are you guys, or even just yourself, depending on how you want to answer it, surprised at some of the performances? Not even just like win-loss, but also just individual, you know, performances from the guys on the team. Like, obviously losing Diesel kind of sucks, but you still got some nutty players.
I mean, Kyle was such an integral part of not just, you know, the way that we play, but also like the communications and the IGLM that he brought. And when you lose that, especially in that position, and you're trying to fill that position on really short notice without practice, it's really tough. And we are really missing that key IGL at the moment, but the boys are really stepping up. As we saw tonight, there's a bit more direction with the attacks, and it's only getting better each time we play with Silex, and he's doing a really awesome job for us at the moment. You know, he didn't sign up to be a player, and he's really just had to fill in, and we're forever grateful for what he's doing for us.
Yeah, I'd say we prepared him pretty well in the caster stack. I guess my final question would be, what's the pass mark for you guys this year? The way I sort of painted it is stage 1, at least until you can transfer a new player in, is sort of survival in a sense. How do you view this stage sort of playing out? What are your goals and expectations?
I mean, the goal at the moment is a little bit of survival up until stage 1, and we can really look at replacing Kyle. Until then, it's just about trying to salvage as many points as we can in both leagues. Obviously, APAC South is going to be very tough, as teams have already shown that they're very strong in that league, and it'll just be about salvaging points. Obviously, there's a lot of time after stage 1 to really, have a good crack at, finishing in the top 2 or 3. But we're still definitely up there. We still got the talent to be number 1. It's just about finding that 5th and really getting stuck back into practice.
Yeah, definitely, at least from us sort of on this side of things, it's been very, very difficult to, I tell you, it's been very difficult to peg where you guys are at from an external point of view. So it's good to see you guys get the win. At least you're on the board, you're looking upwards, and I think you said it perfectly every night. It seems like you guys are moving forward a little bit more each night as it plays out. Congratulations again on the win, mate, and enjoy the couple of nights off.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Hey, man. Yeah, pretty rough. It's clear that that Diesel or Kyle leaving the team has had a significant impact, and I think that really highlights a broader conversation, right? About often a player will depart, maybe expectedly, unlike this situation, and people will say, "Oh, but they had these stats," or yada yada yada. But there's so much more that goes into a player being effective. As Xenox falls asleep. Diesel brought so much to this team. It can't be understated. He's been the rock for them for so long. So pulling that away is almost like taking out the foundations from like a skyscraper, almost is the analogy I can think of on the spot. And it's crumbled a little bit, but they can rebuild in stage 1. And once the transfer period opens again and they find that replacement, I'm sure they'll be all right.
Well, we've had the interview, Guz. Let's go and have a look at the schedule and recap everything. The night's done. We're winding down here. I'm already having a bit of a snooze because I'm tired. It was a long Playday number 2. We kickstarted it off. Rafflecopter upsetting Knights 8-6. Rhythm
Ruffle.
upsetting Order 8-6. Elevate and Bliss going the distance 8-6. And then Wildcard and LFO. I mean, like 7-5s used to be kind of like the close scoreline, right? Not anymore, apparently. It's still a pretty close scoreline, 7-5. So Wildcard and LFO really going toe-to-toe there. Especially at one point, LFO were up 4-1. So after that, it was 6 out of 7 rounds to Wildcard.
I guess you could say really on paper that 2 out of the 4 results were unexpected. I think Knights dropping another map to Ruffle is quite disappointing, and Order not following their form very well there against Rhythm. As for the last 2 games, a bit more expected, but quite tight as the scoreline would suggest.
Yeah, he's on the board.
We see those predictions. Of course, I'm still equal first. We're expecting that. I'm going to be first at the end of the season.
Look at this. Look how quickly, one night, and I've already caught up to Manic, Dev, and Ducky. There's only one difference there.
Stretch. That's a little bit of a stretch.
I'm just saying, those guys, I'm coming for them all. That's all I'm going to say. Look, it's always a bit of fun. I was right though. There was 3 that actually did choose LFO. So it's a hard season to predict.
Never in doubt.
Never in doubt.
Always winning that. I don't think I ever said that it could have been difficult during that podcast.
Anyway, it's always a good bit of fun. I mean, I said I was going to go 4-0 tonight, Guz. I mean, I don't think you could have blamed me. We had 2 pretty big upsets in the end. Rafflecopter coming away with a win and Rhythm coming away with a win. So I still feel like I should have gone 4-0, but it is what it is. It's all good fun. Let's go and have a look at our MVP for tonight, which is going to be Worthy from Elevate. Had an absolute outstanding best of 1. Those predictions are looking pretty bad, Xenox. Oh my god, what? Either way, let's focus on Worthy and Elevate.
Yeah, big night for Worthy and for Elevate. They continued their form. here in OCN 2021, and Worthy was a pivotal member of the team and really kick-starting their momentum, strong in the frag department, and had a couple of nice little plays, as we'll see the replay package pop up. He just seemed like a man that was playing with confidence. He had a couple of nice flanks as well, as you can see here, catching Bliss off guard and made them pay for their mistakes.
Yeah, definitely the standout player for me, who was really the difference maker. Like, I don't want to sit back and say that Elevate lose if Worthy doesn't play the way he did, because you don't actually know, but he certainly had a big impact on them winning, even in vital moments like that, you know, C4 kill there in overtime match point, getting them the early start, then clutching out there towards White Stairs at the end. So ultimately deserved MVP for Playday number 2. I don't actually know who would be who would be MVP for both Playdays though. Would you still go Cutie?
Yeah, you got to. I think Cutie could have done nothing for the rest of the night. The fact that he just hit that 3k C4 was huge. I don't think you could really beat that.
Let's go have a look at the standings and see where everything shapes up here after play day number 2. Rufflecopter, first place. Can you believe it, guys? Elevate, tied with them. There is, of course, the map differential. It's not actually showed on these particular standings, but it is there in the background, which is separating those two teams at the moment. LFO down the bottom on 0, though.
Yeah, and I mean, in between, we've got the likes of Wildcard and the Knights, 2 teams that I'm sure many people a couple of weeks ago would have placed first and second in the league, but clearly not the case so far. Again, it is early days, and a lot of this can shift around, but honestly, some nice surprising results. Seeing Rufflecopter, one of the newer teams in the league, stepping up early on is really awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely. Wildcard up into 5th. I mean, that's not so bad, right? Not all doom and gloom anymore with that singular win. And this is, of course, the case with the new point scoring system, that you can be on 2 points, 1 point at this stage, or, you know, 4 points, for instance, as well. Even if you have 2 overtime wins, that's still only 4 points versus 1 regular win, which is 3. So there's a lot of different ways, and I'm really excited for the remainder of the season to see how the standings themselves actually shake up based on those sort of results.
Yeah, for sure. I really love the new point system and the fact that it's global across all the leagues now. I've really wanted for a long time for teams that really push stronger opponents to OT to be rewarded, and that will be the case. It also helps again with a lot of those awkward tiebreakers. I know we had it, I believe in 6 Masters, like some pretty crazy tiebreakers. So that should help alleviate that. And yeah, hopefully the teams that deserve those singular points here and there, you know, get them, and that could be the nice boost that they need to avoid some of those lower positions on the table, or on the flip side, you know, earning 2 points where in the past you may have earned none. So
yeah, unfortunately for LFO, they are still on none. You don't get anything for 7-5, but everyone else, at least, who lost in overtime tonight, did get some chocolates in the end. But that's going to be us done for Playday number 2 already. Can you believe it? It goes so quickly. Oceanic Nationals has gotten off to a flyer this week, that's for sure. The first 2 play days, you didn't want to miss them, so make sure you do not miss the next 2 next week. We'll see you then.
I'm running out of time. I'm running out of feeling so. I'm running out of time. To leave it all behind. Let me see the rainbow.